In this video, I will approach the GTA San Andreas game from a political point of view and predict the current political view of the characters and which party they will support in the United States. We will also talk about which state the characters look like. Let's get started right away. Sean Johnson. He is Carl's older brother. He is the eldest of the four Johnson brothers and the leader of the Grove Street family gang. The gang's biggest enemy, the Ballas gang, took the life of the Johnson brothers' mother. Sean blames Carl for the deaths of both Brian and his mother for fleeing to Liberty City and not being in Los Santos. Not only Sean, but even CJ blames himself. Anyway, CJ decides to stay in Los Santos, and in the future they will strengthen the gang together and get their revenge. Sweet, as he is also known, is an authoritarian character with a deep attachment to his family and his neighborhood, who values social order and traditional values. She is against drugs and corruption in the neighborhood. He is critical of the capitalist order, but not revolutionary. He carries out a pragmatic struggle focused on protecting his neighborhood and culture. His leadership style is authoritarian and against economic injustices. In short, he supported the Democratic Party. In our political compass, we can position him on the authoritarian left. Sweet's position on the authoritarian left does not make him a communist. I placed him here because of his commitment to family and his values of protecting the community. If we analyze which state he resembles, given Sweet's lifestyle, values and environment, we can place him in California, the state in America where urban poverty and gang culture are most prominent. Frank Tenpenny. He is an officer of the Los Santos Police Department. He is also the leader of the dirty cops known as Crash. He profits from gang wars through blackmail and threats. On the last mission, while fleeing Sweet and Carl in a fire truck, he crashes into the railing of a bridge and falls to his death. Frank Tenpenny is an authoritarian and corrupt figure who abuses power for his own gain. He acts pragmatically, judging right and wrong only insofar as it serves his own interests. He both exploits and reinforces the distortions of the capitalist order. While he sees fear and oppression as a control mechanism, he dislikes the justice-seeking individuals of the system and prefers to cooperate with corrupt individuals. He may be close to an authoritarian and pro-establishment wing of the Republican Party, which is why I think he would support the Republican Party. In our political compass, we can place him on the authoritarian right, so we can characterize him as a Nazi. If we think about which state he resembles, Frank Tenpenny is a figure that reflects the harsh and authoritarian culture of Texas. Big Smoke. He was an important member of the Grove Street family's, Sweet's right-hand man. He really wanted to get into the drug business. However, since the Grove Street families were an anti-drug gang, he betrayed Grove Street with Ryder by allying himself with Frank Tenpenny. His lust for money and power draws him to the Ballas side. On the last mission, he is taken down by Carl Johnson in the meth lab where he is hiding. Big Smoke is a pragmatic, manipulative, and corrupt character who puts the pursuit of personal gain and power above all else. Easily disregarding community values and friendship, he exploits the vulnerabilities of the system to his advantage and, driven by capitalist ambition, does not hesitate to collaborate with oppressive forces. He supported the Republican Party. On our political compass, we can place him on the liberal right. If we discuss which state he resembles, Big Smoke can be compared to the people of the state of Florida, given his character, behavior, values, and ideology. Kendl Johnson. She is Carl's and Sweet's sister. She also has a boyfriend. His name is Cesar Vialpando. Sweet has always been against her having a boyfriend. Because she and Sweet don't get along, she packs her things and moves to Cesar's house in El Corona. After Sweet went to prison, she went to San Fierro with Carl and Cesar to save their lives. He later returned to Los Santos with his brother Carl. Kendl Johnson is a character with values of independence and freedom, devoted to family and modern thinking. He emphasizes progressive values such as social equality and women's rights, taking a pragmatic and peaceful approach rather than gang conflicts. In her diplomatic role within the family, she seeks constructive solutions and takes a more open-minded stance against traditional thinking. As a result, she supported the Democratic Party because of its emphasis on women's rights, social equality, and individual freedoms. In our political compass, we can place her on the liberal left. In a way, we can characterize her as a soy progressive. If we think about which state he resembles, Colorado fits Kendl Johnson's character as a modern and liberal state, in favor of social equality and individual freedoms. Ryder. Like Big Smoke, Ryder is a prominent member of the gang. He is a childhood friend of Carl Johnson. He often collaborates with Big Smoke. He has a rather wacky personality, but he is also very friendly. Together with Big Smoke, he betrays the gang and secretly connects with the Ballas gang. He starts dealing drugs in the city with Big Smoke. He is killed by CJ while trying to escape by boat during the Pier 69 mission. Ryder is a selfish and manipulative character, aggressive and destructive in his relationships within the gang. He has strong ties to the world of crime crime and drugs, so he acts in his own self-interest with contempt for the social order and the state. He hates the powerful, is insensitive to the weak and questions the social structure for his own benefit. These characteristics make him more of an individualist, anti-statist, and authoritarian character. Ryder's selfish and self-interested attitude suggests that he may be closer to the extreme right wing of the Republican Party. In our political compass, we can position him on the authoritarian right, so he is a Nazi. If we think about which state he's similar to, Nevada, especially in cities like Las Vegas, is full of people who are more free, who start their own businesses and act independently of social norms. So I think it might be a good fit for Ryder. Woozie. His real name is Woozie Moo. He is the leader of the Mountain Cloud Boys Mafia in San Fierro. Although he is blind, he can drive a car, engage in combat and play video games. One day he meets CJ during an illegal race. When CJ wins the race, he is attracted to him and gives him his address in San Fierro. Both CJ helps him with his business and he helps CJ with his business, and Woozie offers CJ a partnership for his casino. Eventually Woozie and CJ become partners. Woozie is a strategic and pragmatic leader. Independence and individualism are his main characteristics. Despite being visually impaired, he dominates his environment with his strong inner strength and prioritizes his own interests. He tends to succeed using a life and system independent of society. He shows moral flexibility and focuses on his interests and not on social norms. This leads him to adopt a libertarian ideology because it advocates limited state intervention and individual freedom. As a result, he would support the Libertarian Party. On our political compass, we can position him on the liberal right. If we think about which state he resembles, Woozie resembles the state of Nevada in that he is successful in business and a strategic thinker. Eddie Pulaski. He is one of the renegade cops known as Crash on the streets of Los Santos. Frank Tenpenny is his superior. They are involved in many crimes together. He makes Kendl Johnson do his dirty work for his own benefit. We see his end in the game when he is taken down by CJ while trying to escape by car. Eddie is a corrupt authoritarian figure. He abuses his power, prioritizes his personal interests, maintains loyalty only as long as it serves his own interests, uses violence and manipulation as a tool, is a symbol of corruption that undermines justice, and is ruthless in eliminating threats. As a result, Eddie supported the Republican Party, whose authoritarian and traditionalist wing he could identify with. On our political compass, we can place him on the authoritarian right. And yes, he is a Nazi. As for which state to place him in, the state of Alabama fits Eddie's profile with its historical corruption problems and authoritarian tendencies. Jimmy Hernandez. He is one of the optimistic cops known as Crash. Frank Tenpenny and Eddie Pulaski lure him to their side. Tenpenny and Pulaski force him to kill police officer Ralph Penderbury because Penderbury knows about their dirty deeds. Hernandez succumbs to Tenpenny and Pulaski's pressure and pulls the trigger, killing Penderbury. Later, in an abandoned town called Las Brujas, Tenpenny hits him over the head with a shovel and Hernandez faints. He later comes to and tries to attack Pulaski, but Pulaski shoots him and Hernandez dies. Jimmy Hernandez's character reflects the inner conflict of an individual trapped in a corrupt system. His loyalty to authority, more often separated from fear, at times shows his willingness to do the right thing. However, his passivity in what it takes to complete the acts prevent these components from being combined. The search for justice and order keeps his conscience alive, but the visibility of survival prevents him from realizing these ideals. In general, Hernandez is a character caught between pragmatism and the inroads made. I think he would support the Democratic Party, and in our political compass we could position him on the liberal left, but that doesn't mean he's an LGBT person or a soy progressive. Thinking about the state we would place him in, I liken Jimmy's characteristics, dilemmas, and loyalty to authority to the state of New Mexico. OG Locke. He wants to get into Grove Street but is rejected because of his lack of physical ability. He wants to go to prison to make a name for himself. He commits various crimes and finally manages to go to jail. His going to jail increases his street cred. He gets out of jail in 1992 and his dream is to become a gangsta rap star, but he is too bad a rapper to write his own lyrics, so he asks CJ to steal Mad Dogg's songbook. CJ steals Mad Dogg's songbook for him and kills Mad Dogg's manager. Thus, Mad Dogg's rap career ends and he takes his place. However, things change later on. CJ becomes Mad Dogg's new manager and takes the songbook back from him. Thus, Mad Dogg's rap career takes off again. OG Locke, on the other hand, loses his fame. OG Locke is a character who constantly strives for image, claiming to be a real gangster or rap artist, but lacks the talent to back up his claims. Throughout his life he has tried to elevate his own status by undermining the success of others, but in the process he has consistently focused on hiding his insecurities. Although popularity and status are paramount to him, he seeks to achieve these goals in a superficial, effortless way. Hating being criticized and having the truth thrown in his face, OG Locke takes an aggressive stance against anyone who threatens his world. As a result, he supported the Republican Party. On our political compass, we can place him on the authoritarian right. If we think about the state we would place him in, Miami's culture of pretentiousness and the pursuit of false fame would fit well with OG Locke's character. We could place him in the state of Florida. Cesar Vialpando. He is Kendl Johnson's boyfriend and CJ's brother-in-law. When the Grove Street and Barrios Los Aztecas gangs were disbanded, they traveled to San Fierro together to save their lives. He helped Carl a lot. During the 1992 Los Santos Rebellion, Carl Johnson and his fellow Grove Street and Aztecas members took back El Corona and Little Mexico. Cesar is a figure of equality and justice, seeking a better life for his community. Although he is a gang leader, he does not seek individual enrichment or power. Cesar takes a socially progressive stance. He stands against racial and social inequalities, does not hesitate to cooperate with different groups and takes a clear stand against injustice. He supported the Democratic Party. In our political compass we can place him on the liberal left, but I will make a statement. I know that this region is identified with LGBT people and soy progressives, but I placed Cesar here because he is a figure who defends social solidarity and equality. If we think about which state he resembles, I liken it to the state of New Mexico. Mad Dogg. When I talked about the character of OG Locke, I also mentioned the character of Mad Dogg. Mad Dogg, whose rap career later ended, lost his big mansion in the Vinewood Hills. One day, drunk, he goes up to a rooftop to commit suicide, and CJ, who was passing by, saves him. In the end, CJ and the Triads get his mansion back. CJ and Kent Paul even manage him, and he continues his career. His story represents individual freedoms as well as sensitivity to social issues, making him a figure in the quest for social justice. The party Mad Dogg would probably support would be the Democratic Party. On our political compass, we might place him on the liberal left, but not because he is an LGBT person or a soy progressive. As for which state he resembles, Atlanta is one of the major centers of hip-hop music today. Mad Dogg's musical career and social dynamics are similar to Atlanta's African-American culture. Therefore, I place him in the state of Georgia. The truth. He has a farm and a caravan called the Mothership. He usually says nonsense. Through Frank Tenpenny, he meets Carl Johnson. Later on, Tenpenny betrays him and informs on his drug farm. She and CJ set the whole field on fire and flee with Carl to San Fierro to hide. The truth often makes seemingly meaningless speeches and criticizes the workings of the system. This shows his anti-authoritarian attitude. He is involved in illegal activities, such as drug farming, but at the same time he is sensitive to issues of nature and freedom. His relationship with CJ revolves around the themes of helping him and fighting together. As a former government agent, he is thought to have knowledge of the secret affairs of the government. This reinforces his anti-system thoughts. His connection with hippie culture shows that he embraces a peaceful and libertarian lifestyle. The party the truth would probably support would be the Green Party. On our political compass, we could place him on the liberal left. Regardless of which state he resembles, the truth's connection to nature and libertarian values resonate with Oregon's cultural makeup. Catalina. He is Cesar Vialpando's cousin. On Cesar's recommendation, he meets Carl Johnson. They commit several robberies together. After the first robbery, she confesses that she is in love with Carl. However, she does not get the attention she expects from CJ and begins an affair with Claude Speed to make Carl jealous. Later on, she moves to Liberty City with Claude. Catalina, who has an ambitious, independent and tough personality, is a character who aims to make money by robbing. The party Catalina would probably support would be the Republican Party. Catalina's quest for power and independence overlaps with some of the Republican Party's policies. In our political compass, we can position her as authoritarian right, and yes, she would be a Nazi. Regarding which state she resembles, Catalina's independent spirit and her place in the criminal world are similar to some communities in Texas. Mike Toreno. He's a government agent. He somehow infiltrated the Loco Syndicate criminal organization. The Loco Syndicate is brought down by CJ, but nothing happens to him. He then reveals himself to Carl and surprises Carl. He gets Carl to take care of some of his business. He arranges for Carl to train as a pilot. In exchange for Carl's help, he gets Carl's brother Sweet out of prison. Mike Toreno is a powerful individual, characterized by his ties to the state and his strategic thinking. Due to his authoritarian tendencies, the Republican Party is likely to be the party he will support. On our political compass, we can place him on the authoritarian right. If we think about which state he resembles, Mike Toreno's connections in the criminal world and his ties to the secret government agency overlap with the criminal culture in New Jersey. B-Dup. B-Dup, a former member of Grove Street, is a drug dealer. He was kicked out of the gang by Sweet because he started selling drugs. He later joined the Ballas gang. On a mission, he sends a woman to kill Sweet, but fails because of CJ's involvement. They then go to his hideout and fight with him. B-Dup's manipulative nature and selfish behavior can lead him to an individualistic perspective. His self-interest shows that he is insensitive to social norms. His drug dealing and his relationships with gangs have led him to adopt an attitude that pushes him out of the system. This can be interpreted as a rebellion against authority. As a result, he supported the Libertarian Party, which advocated both individual liberties and a reduction in government interference. On our political compass, we can position him on the liberal right. If we decide which state he resembles, B-Dup's drug dealing and difficult life history overlaps with the social dynamics of Flint. That's why I'm adding him to the state of Michigan. Claude Speed. As you know, Claude is the main character of GTA 3. I can't analyze him politically like in GTA 3 story here. If you want GTA 3 on the Political Compass video to come, like the video and specify in the comments. Denise Robinson. He is trapped in a house fire in a house belonging to the Los Santos Vagos gang. She is later pulled out of the burning house by Carl Johnson. She then becomes Carl Johnson's girlfriend. Denise Robinson is an individualist and social justice-seeking figure. Her story is shaped by her desire for independence and her sensitivity to social issues. Therefore, the party she would probably support would be the Democratic Party. In our political compass, we can position him on the liberal left, so we can characterize him as a libertarian. If we choose which state she resembles, Denise's independent spirit and strong personality may overlap with Memphis' challenging social structure. T-Bone Mendez. He's the leader of the San Fierro Rifa gang. He is a drug dealer of Mexican descent. T-Bone Mendez's last appearance in the game is in the mission Pier 69. Arriving at the Pier 69 pier with the Ballas, Ryder and T-Bone, Los Santos attended a meeting on behalf of Big Smoke, who was hiding in San Andreas. However, Cesar Vialpando, Carl Johnson and Woozie's men interrupted the meeting. T-Bone Mendez fought against CJ with an AK-47, but was shot and wounded. While clinging to the pier walls, T-Bone fell into the ocean as CJ and Cesar rained bullets on him. His body was never recovered. The character of T-Bone Mendez is a powerful individual with authoritarian tendencies. His story is shaped by his quest for power and his authority within the gang. Therefore, the party he will probably support is the Republican Party. On our political compass, we can position him on the authoritarian right. If we are debating which state to place him in, the state of South Carolina is similar to T-Bone's dangerous lifestyle. Gang affiliations are common, especially in cities like Charleston. Jizzy. He is the owner of the Pleasure Domes Club in Battery Point. He is also a member of the Loco Syndicate criminal organization. CJ gains his trust and infiltrates the Loco Syndicate organization. When CJ gathers enough information about Loco Syndicate, he takes him and the other Loco Syndicate members down. He is the first member of the Loco Syndicate to be taken down. Jizzy's prioritization of his own interests and manipulation of others points to an individualistic perspective. It shows his will to control his own life and his sensitivity to social norms. Due to his position in the world of crime, he can display a rebellion against authority. This may be combined with his hatred of authoritarian structures. He would probably support the Libertarian Party. On our political compass, we could place him on the liberal right. Whichever state he resembles, Jizzy's dangerous lifestyle and authority within the gang bears similarities to Nevada's street culture. Big Bear. He is called Big Bear because of his old appearance. He is a former member of the Grove gang. Bear was one of the leading figures of the gang, but in the following years he quit gangsterism and the gang. After leaving the gang, Bear started taking drugs and became a drug addict. Because of this addiction, he became very weak and his life collapsed. Big Bear's difficulties and addiction can be considered as a figure in the search for social justice. His hatred towards drug addiction may increase his sensitivity towards social problems. He may have an individualistic perspective due to his addiction, which may lead him away from social norms. As a result, he supported the Democratic Party. On our political compass, we can position him on the liberal left. Considering which state he resembles, the state of Cleveland is known for its high unemployment rates and crime problems. Big Bear's background and lifestyle align with the social challenges in Cleveland. Salvatore Leone. He is the leader of the Leone Mafia. Carl Johnson is the owner of Caligula's Casino, which he robs with Woozie and the Triads. Salvatore is respected in the criminal world and uses harsh methods to maintain that respect. As the owner of Caligula's Casino, he manages the casino business and gets involved in various criminal activities in the process. This reflects his manipulative nature and his quest for power. His relationships with other mafia members are often based on hierarchy. As a result, he supported the Republican Party. On our political compass, we can can place him on the authoritarian right. We can also call this guy a straight Nazi. As for which state he resembles, Salvatore's interest in casino business is linked to the entertainment industry in Los Angeles. Therefore, I am adding him to the state of California. Carl Johnson. Yes, finally we come to our main character. I'm going to analyze him without talking about him directly. CJ is a character who grew up in a poor neighborhood and became part of the gang culture, but is motivated by protecting his family and community. Loyalty, justice, and community solidarity are his core values. He tries to keep his family together, especially after the death of his mother, and focuses on protecting his neighborhood by reviving the Grove Street gang. He takes a clear stance against the corrupt police force and betraying old friends. CJ stands for justice and solidarity, opposing social inequalities and the exploitation of his community. As a result, he supported the Democratic Party. On our political compass, we can locate him on the liberal left. I know this space is associated with LGBT people and soy progressives, but remember, CJ is here because he is a leader fighting for justice and solidarity. Also, as Grove Street's favorite leader, he prefers green over soy milk. I'd like you to decide which state he looks like. You write in the comments. Lastly, there are two characters I didn't cover in this video, Ken Rosenberg and Kent Paul, but I analyzed them in my previous video, which you can watch by clicking here. If you liked the video, it would motivate me a lot if you liked the video. You can also specify in the comments for the political analysis of the movies you want. Of course, you can subscribe to my channel to be informed about those videos. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.